Welcome to the segment where I review movies, past and present, examining them from a variety of perspectives, including the subjective, psychological, and personal. Informative and occasionally funny, this is LoganLand Rants. Welcome to LoganLand Rants. Today we're talking about Onward. Now, you're probably hearing this on Sunday, because if I'm being honest, I will post on Fridays, maybe more often, but if I'm being honest, I said on my Patreon I'd post every week, not every Friday, so keep that in mind. Also, I just want to talk. Obviously I like talking, adjusting myself in my seat, so that's probably the sound you heard. This is just me doing a predictable, impromptu talk about a movie I like. Now, I've talked about Pixar movies before with my Toy Story podcast, so you should check that out. It's episode 3 of LoganLand Rants season 1, I believe. So that was last year. But anyway, we're talking about Onward, which is a very sweet movie that made my grandpa cry. I'm calling you out, Grandpa Black. That's what we call him. But anyway, Onward is a very sad movie about growing up without a father and what would happen if you decide... what if you could spend one day with your dad that you never knew? And that's a question that Onward milks pretty hard and very effectively, I thought. Onward is definitely about, learning where your void is being filled. That sounded weirder than I meant for it to sound. But Onward is ultimately about discovering that the family you have is important. And no spoilers, it's really very sweet and very effective the way it does. Pixar knocks it out of the park again. It's a very sweet, very lovable movie about elves, in case you didn't know. This takes place on a medieval fantasy world. Once again, Pixar has a proclivities towards getting weird. There's maybe one or two scenes that might be a little out of place in the movie. I'm not gonna name them here, but some of them were even banned in Russia, which is, mind-blowing to me. But beyond that, I honestly didn't do too much research into the Russia ban, however that worked out. I think it was also banned in Middle Eastern countries. Not touching that. Basically, Onward was banned in a few countries for the dumbest possible reasons, but still manages to be a funny and effective look on, family and, who you're close to, and there's a lot of positive things I could say about Onward. Obviously, if you're not a fan of family movies, don't watch it. Who isn't a fan of animated family movies? I mean, there are some garbage ones for sure, but Pixar has usually knocked it out of the park. I know my voice cracks when I'm really trying to belabor a point. But Onward is great for all these reasons. It's really effective. The voice cast kills it. Tom Holland and Chris Pratt are great together as brothers, and Chris Pratt predictably great as always. And Tom Holland proves he's more than just Spider-Man, or a theater kid, which is what he did before Spider-Man. And obviously there are some great performances by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I should know, Seinfeld. But also Octavia Spencer. Pretty much the entire voice cast is well-rounded and effective. There's a character named Colt Bronco who, little on the nose, he's a centaur in case you didn't know. And the main character is stepfather. But that's a whole other topic. I mean, Colt Bronco is obviously an absurd name. But it's funny, and I think it fits within the world that Onward is trying to create. Also, I think if you love Dungeons & Dragons in any sense of the word, you should watch this. Because it's just riddled with, magic and spellcraft references that even if you're uncomfortable with that sort of thing, it works within the context of the fantasy world Pixar presents in Onward. And I think most Dungeons & Dragons fans can appreciate this fantasy movie because a lot of it is about role-playing games and how, even if it's not true, it might have some bearing over... It's a long story. But I do think it's worth the watch. And beyond that, the film is entertaining. It moves with a predictable narrative heft that we all know that Pixar excels at. All of their movies are impeccably structured and well done. Very emotional, except for Cars, because Cars was only okay, but they're usually really good, and Onward is another predictable example of the way in which Pixar can excel at their animation craft. I could honestly go on and on, but I think I'd just be winded. I'm in a little bit of a food coma right now. Don't ask what I ate. You'll just be ashamed, Mom. But also, I don't know, like, there's not a lot I could say about Onward other than it made your grandpa cry. And grandpa does not usually cry at unrealistic stuff. 5 stars. I don't love watching grandpa, pretend to cry, but he said he was really crying, but I don't buy that for one. I buy it. I love you, Grandpa. But that's all I really have to say about Onward. It's really worth the watch. It's on streaming now due to the whole coronavirus shite. Pardon my language. It's worth watching. Feel free to like or subscribe or pledge or usual stuff that I keep asking you people to do that you never do. You might view it, and I appreciate you viewing it. But this isn't a complaint. I really love the fact that so many people are listening to this podcast. It's really nice to hear. And like, pledge, subscribe, usual stuff. Logan out.